Hi friends, my name is Bhavya Mangla. I'm IITF qualified auditor having a total experience of more than 32 years. I'm again back with a very interesting topic, and today I'm going to talk about ISO 30415 2021 checklist, which is related to diversity, equity and inclusion. And by the time this video will end, you will understand what exactly is the purpose of this checklist, what are the different clauses which are involved in this particular checklist, and how we can effectively use this checklist so that we can assess the performance of an organization. Well, in general, if you look around us, then we are investing a lot. But when we are investing, it's not that we are investing only in, say, share market. We are also investing in mutual funds, we are investing in gold, maybe in property, or maybe in something else. And why we do that? Because it is always being said that we should not invest only in one particular mode. We should have a diverse portfolio. Something similar is there in ISO 30415, where we are talking a lot with respect to diversity. And not only diversity, we are also talking about equity and inclusion there. So today in this particular video, I'm going to talk about the checklist, which is a part of Annexure A. And the purpose of this checklist is that how we can identify that what is the present state of an organization, what are the gaps, and what organization can do to improve it further. And that is the purpose of that particular checklist. This checklist is starting from clause number 5 and ending on clause number 11. And there are many questions with respect to each subclause. So let's go through it one by one. So let me start with first clause number 5.2. 5.2 is talking about accountability and responsibility. In that, the first point is about organizational governance, where there are 4 checkpoints. So here the intent is that at a broader level, how the organization should see diversity, equity and inclusion, and how they can ensure that with respect to their vision, mission and purpose, there is some linkage with diversity, equity and inclusion. So there are some questions with respect to that. Then clause number 5.3 is talking about organizational leadership. So there are 8 different checkpoints wherein they are talking with respect to the top management of the organization, and there are certain expectations with respect to DEI from them. Then the next clause number 5.4 is talking about organizational delegated responsibility, where there are 15 different checkpoints. In all these checkpoints, here the intent is that now after the top management, there is a next line where the people are from different processes. It can be production, quality, environment, new development, purchase. So they also have got certain responsibilities. So how they are making sure that they are doing everything with respect to diversity, equity and inclusion in their mind. Then the last clause of clause number 5 is clause number 5.5, which is talking about individual responsibility, where there are 4 checkpoints. Now, it is not only the responsibility of top management and the people at the senior level, but also individually as a person, what I need to do, how I need to contribute with respect to that. That's all are specified in that particular checklist. Then clause number 6 is talking about diversity and equity framework. There are 13 different questions which are being specified, and if you look into this particular clause, it's primarily talking about the entire framework of an organization on the basis of diversity and inclusion, and it is being formed in the form of PDCA, plan, do, check and act. So there are different questions with respect to that. Then the next clause number 7 is talking about inclusion culture, or you can say that inclusive culture. There are 11 different checkpoints. So in general, we are talking about diversity, we are talking about equity, but the most important thing is inclusion. That organization may have a diversity, but then whether it is being effectively implemented or not, how to check that. So there are many questions which are there as a part of checklist. Then the biggest checklist is coming for clause number 8, which is talking about human resource management cycle. So let's go quickly one by one. So the first subclause is 8.2, which is talking about workforce planning. In workforce planning, there are 7 checkpoints. Primarily, it's talking about that initially we need to see that where is the present organization workforce is there and how we can plan it considering diversity, equity and inclusion. Then subclause number 8.3 is talking about remuneration. So there are 9 different checkpoints that when we are thinking about remuneration to the people who are existing or to the new, what are the different points that we need to see as a part of internal assessment or external assessment to see that whether remuneration is taking into consideration the diversity, equity, and inclusion. Then subclause number 8.4 is talking about recruitment. There are 14 different checkpoints. Now, recruitment is a big process, and there's a very high possibility that we can miss some very important aspect with respect to DEI. So that's why a lot of importance is given to this particular subclause. Then after that, the next is about onboarding. There are 10 different checkpoints. Here again, there is a possibility that there can be some difference of opinion, or we can give importance to some people and we don't give importance to some people at the time of onboarding. So there are many interesting questions with respect to that. Then the next subclause is about 8.6. It's about learning and development. There are 11 different checkpoints. Now, once a person is recruited, or maybe the people who are working, how we can ensure that whatever trainings we are planning, whatever training we are giving, it is without any bias. So there are many questions with respect to that. Then the next subclause is 8.7, which is talking about performance management. There are 12 different questions with respect to this particular checklist. Here the intent is that when we are doing the performance management, annual appraisal, and giving the incentive, are we making sure that we are not doing any bias, we are not giving particular support to any particular group, or not supporting any particular group. So there are different questions with respect to that. Next is talking about 8.9. That's about workforce mobility. Now, there is always a possibility in organization that people can move from one place to another. So when we are doing that, are we making sure that we are doing it as per some guidelines, at some rules, or maybe there are some intentions which are there when we are doing the mobility. The next is talking about succession planning, wherein the intent is that we are improving the people's life by moving them from one place to another. We are trying to give them some better facilities. We are trying to give them more exposure. So while doing that, are we making sure that diversity, equity, inclusion are taken care? And the last clause is what? Cessation of employee. That because of any reason, when we are terminating the employment, it can be a retirement, it can be end of contract, then are we making sure that whatever requirements are there, they are being taken care of or not, that there are certain checkpoints with respect to that. Then after that, clause number 9 is talking about design, development, and delivery. There are 9 different questions. Here the intent is that at the time of marketing, at the time of designing any new product, any new service, are we making sure that whatever requirements are with respect to diversity, equity, and inclusion are taken care? Say for example, a person is blind. Now, how we are designing a product so that a person who cannot see can still utilize that product? Or maybe a person who has some other physical disability, how that person can move from one place to another, how we are designing our system, and how we are making sure that whenever you are communicating about any new requirement, it is being gone to all kind of people and not to a certain sector. So there are some checkpoints to verify that at that particular time. Then clause number 10 is talking specifically with respect to procurement and supply chain relationship. There are 9 different checkpoints with respect to that. Here the intent is that when we are selecting the supplier, when we are approving the supplier, is it not that we are looking to some selected supplier which we think important? Are we communicating to all possible suppliers with respect to tendering and other process, or we have some specific conditions so that we can eliminate some people? How we are taking care about that? So there are many interesting and relevant questions about that. And the last, clause number 11 is talking with respect to external stakeholder relationship. Now, in an organization, it is not only the customer or the supplier or the employee. There are many other stakeholders. It can be a banker, it can be some government, it can be some society people, maybe some people from the nearby villages, or there can be many more people. So what kind of relationship organization is happening, and how the organization is ensuring that they are following diversity, equity, and inclusion with all the relevant stakeholders. So if you see from clause number 5 to clause number 11, there are many points, and the idea of all these points is that once we do the internal assessment, we can know where do we stand, and there is a possibility that we can ask some organization to come from outside and they can do the assessment to see from a third party perspective that where the organization stand at this particular point of time. Well, regularly I'm getting a lot of feedback from your side, and they're helping me to understand your expectations. So please do continue that. And in case you want to understand a little bit more about this particular video, you can find a link below. If you click that, you'll find a blog there. And there you will find this particular information in much more detail. And in case you're liking these kind of videos and blogs, you can always share with your friends and colleagues, and you can subscribe to my YouTube channel and my website bhavyamangla.com. Thank you.